interest for the future and possibly competing for the 2028 games. Is that correct?
It is correct. I retired in 2000, late 2014 for judo, so I can make the transition to MMA, and I never thought about coming back whatsoever. But Los Angeles, they got the bid for the Olympics, and I mean, having the Olympics in America is just huge alone, but not only is it my home country, it's my hometown. I was literally born in Los Angeles. I'm born and raised in LA. I'm a Valley girl, and where they're gonna have judo is really close to where I was literally born, and it's just and then also the host country gets an automatic slot in each weight division right off the bat, whereas normally it's only a world ranking mode, and they only take the top, for women they only take the top 14 in the world, one per country, so it's a little different. So it's just, I don't know, seems like a lot of opportunities. We're thinking about it. We'll see.
It would be an incredible addition to your already going story. And
yeah,
obviously not just judo is part of your story, MMA, you dabbled in some power slap. So as far as maybe a more short-sighted scope as far as the years go, we're not in 2028 yet. How are your combat sports interests, panning out right now? What are you feeling toward? Are you moving toward anything particular?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to continue power slap. I actually enjoy it. The more I do it, the more I enjoy it. The more I learn, the more I'm realizing it's I see the sport behind it and why people are getting so into it and whatnot. I just did a training camp at the UFC Apex this past weekend and learned a ton from there. So I'm super excited for my next power slap event. That probably will be my very next thing. Will be a power slap event, make some money, and then probably right after that, hopefully LFA. And I mean, I very much want to be signed to the UFC and power slap.
Absolutely. And just quick on that event. What kind of event was that? That sounds like a bunch of fighters were there.
For the training camp?
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought all the power slap people that are competing this weekend coming up. They all were there. And then, I live in Vegas, luckily, so they were like, hey, if you want to join. I showed up every single day. I was going to take full advantage of that. But yeah, and then there were a few other people that showed up. They had some guys come in and coach who, one of the guys has been doing it forever, way before power slap was even thought of, and his technique was excellent. So I'm really excited about the next event.
All right, last one for me. Obviously, there's a judo lineage strong in MMA, and you have connection to some of those lineages when we mention names like Ronda Rousey, Kayla Harrison. But let me ask you, pick your brain, coming from somebody who actually knows the art, a real pro. What are judo fighters often missing from? We've had greats like Carl Parisian back in the day. We've had Ronda. Chepe Manoscal is doing some cool stuff now. But these are kind of few and far between. What do you think is missing from the judo to MMA transition?
I think a lot of people, and this is just what I hear a lot of people ask, why aren't there more judo players from, these superstars from other countries? Why aren't they doing MMA? It's well, first off, they're making so much money just being coaches over there. They're living the retired life and making great money, so they really don't have to. And I think, too, judo, it's such a lifetime sport. It's super demanding on the body. I mean, we don't take down. We literally pick up and throw. So, when you're getting thrown hundreds of times a night, over and over again, I think a lot of people, when they're done with the judo life, they're pretty much done. As far as the technical side, I really think it depends on the athlete. I think the athletes that are able to grip fight using just no gi, and really there is a little transition you have to make. And once you're able to understand the transition of how judo will work for MMA, it'll be great. But if you're trying to do traditional judo, and it's not gonna work as well, especially without the gi. So.
What was it about the power slap opportunity that was intriguing to you?
I don't know. Sometimes, opportunities come to you, and I feel like you kind of have to take them. Hunter and Dana kind of asked me about that, and I feel like those are two people, I mean, so successful. How do you say no to them, And I also went through breakup last year, we were for a very, very long relationship, and I also really needed the money. I'm not gonna lie. And then Power Slap's doing great. They're paying great. And the more, I'm telling you, the more I do it, the more I really enjoy it. And the crowd Power Slap compared to MMA events is so different. You heard booing tonight. at Power Slap events, I mean, everybody is screaming and cheering, and like, it's just so like, there's just so much more love, and the energy is awesome, and everybody counts your slaps with you. I mean, I love the energy of the crowd at Power Slap. So.
It's been a couple years since we've seen you in the cage. Is there a specific reason why we haven't seen you compete again in MMA?
Yeah, well, my last fight I was supposed to have with LFA, you know, the morning of weigh-ins, unfortunately, my opponent's daughter ended up going into a coma and passing away. Horrible. I mean, you know. But, and then right after that, they got me scheduled for another fight, and first day, first round of camp, I actually ripped my hamstring off the bone, and it retracted, so I had like a ball of hamstring sitting back here, and I tore my labrum in half. So I ended up having to have surgery, and I had to relearn to walk, I had to relearn to run. Thank goodness I have full access to the UFC Performance Institute. I couldn't have done it without them. Absolutely not. I mean, relearning to walk is very humbling. That's one thing I can say. But I learned to run again on their underwater treadmill there. I mean, when I came back, like, and actually started doing MMA again, I mean, I was in shape, which I was shocked because I hadn't, in my opinion, I hadn't done a lot of cardio, but I came in and I was ready to go because the staff there, the strength and conditioning coaches, the PTs, sportsmen, their nutrition, everybody's amazing there, so.
To kind of go off of that, I remember when Kayla made the transition to MMA, I spoke to her and she said she could do hours of judo practice without that sweat just because her body's used to it. But 30 minutes or an hour into an MMA training, it just kicked her ass.
Yeah, it's definitely a transition, that's for sure. Once you, and it's just like judo or any other sport, once you've like done it a while, and then you learn more and more, and then of course then you know where you can conserve your energy, different ways to throw. Just like when we grip fight, we're not squeezing the whole time, and you know, and like otherwise we would have no form, we wouldn't be able to hold anymore, you know. But like, yeah, it's definitely the first couple years, I feel, probably the first year is just like taking away all the habits that you are allowed in judo that you don't want to do in MMA. You have to reverse decades, something you did your entire life. Like I started judo when I was 7. And then to like be an adult and be like, nope, can't do that anymore. It's a big change. So I think first it's like stopping those habits that you can't do anymore. And then learning how to conserve your energy, learning technique, because at the end of the day, when you do everything technically correct, you know, you will conserve a lot more energy. So
last one for me, like you said, you had to kind of tell yourself not to do it. If you do it both at the same time, is that a challenge to kind of turn your brain off at certain times of energy, like you can't do this, you can't do power slap, you can't do this?
For Power Slap at MMA, no. For Power Slap, I actually still trained MMA all through my camp. I actually put together a whole camp. My strength and conditioning coach and my head MMA coach, like we kind of just put together like the best we could for a Power Slap camp. That was pretty easy for me. If I do decide to come out of retirement and go after the 2028 Olympics, I will have to take a break from everything else. I believe. So.
You mentioned that earlier, obviously, your aspirations to become a UFC fighter as well. So is that kind of having a good run in power slap and then going to the UFC, or just simultaneous UFC and power slap? Because if that would be history.
You know, I'm all about making history, so I think I can do it. You know, I have zero responsibilities besides myself, you know, and my dogs. So like, I don't have kids, you know, I'm not married or anything, so I truly believe I can do both. If it's Power Slap and UFC, I truly believe I can do both, yeah.
I know you have a good relationship with Dana, but
yeah.
do you think he'd allow such a thing?
I think that if I am performing at Power Slap and I come out here in LFA and be dominant like I know I can, I don't think anybody can tell me no. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
I don't think Dana's feeling much.
I think so.
You think so? Yeah.